Hey, Angela here with a short practice to keep you moving today. You'll need yoga blocks, a blanket, a resistance band, and a mat, and you'll come on to hands and knees, and we'll start in a tuck-toed child's pose position. So if tucking your toes is not comfortable, by all means point them, but otherwise tuck the toes. Pull the hips back towards the heels. Let the arms be straight out in front of you, so their hands are keeping you from falling on your face right now. So you can look down at the mat, but we're keeping the head off the floor. And you can do a little shift of your body weight from side to side here. Breathing in, breathing out. We are going to shift our body weight forward, so come back towards the center, and then exhale, lift the hips up, shift the shoulders over the wrists, and then inhale, shift everything back. And on an exhalation, bring the shoulders forward, and on an inhale, shift the hips back. So we're just introducing the weight bearing into the hands, warming up the shoulders, the wrists, the hips, the knees, the feet. Notice, are you pushing off the legs to shift forward and back? What happens if we get the arms a little bit more involved? So the next time you've got the shoulders over the wrist, try pushing your mat forward in space. It's not going to go anywhere because you're on the mat, but let that be the initiation of what pulls your hips back in space. Right, so you're trying to push the mat forward, you're firing up across the shoulder girdle to pull the hips back. Do one or two more depending at the speed in which you're moving, and then we'll meet in a tabletop position. We'll let the toes untuck if they've been tucked that whole time. Right, inhale, extend the spine, lift the head and chest. And then exhale, cat the back, drop the head, scoop the tailbone down. Again, inhale, extend that spine. Feel like you can slide those hands away from one another. And then exhale, cat the back, drop the head. One more, inhale, extend. And exhale, flex. Come back to a neutral position, what feels like neutral. So you're staying lifted out of the shoulders. You're going to slide the left leg back behind you, but keep the toes on the floor. And then reach that right arm forward in space. On an inhale, you're going to sweep the right arm off to the side to the wall behind you. And then exhale, sweep that right arm forward. And again, inhale, sweep that right arm back. Exhale, sweep it forward. Inhale, sweep back. And exhale, sweep forward. Simply place the right hand down. Now lift that left leg into the air. And then exhale, pull that left knee towards the chest, flex the spine. Inhale, send that left heel back. Exhale, curl in. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. And inhale, extend. Simply release the left knee down. Let's pull the hips back towards the heels. Come off the hands, come off the shoulders, drop the head. And then lift back to a tabletop position. Setting up on all fours, stretch the right leg back behind you. And keep the toes on the floor. This is going to help us keep that pelvis a little bit more balanced here. And then reach that left arm forward in space. On an inhale, sweep the arm off to the side to the wall behind you. And then exhale, sweep that arm forward. And again, inhale, sweep it to the side. And if it stays a little bit low, that's fine, right? Especially if you're starting to overuse your upper trapezius muscle. One more time, sweep it to the side. And one more time, sweep it forward. Go ahead, just release that left hand down and lift the right leg into the air. On an exhalation, pull the knee in, flex the spine. And on an inhale, stretch that right leg back. Chest can move forward. Again, exhale, pull that knee in, push the floor away. Inhale, extend. One more time, exhale, curl in. And inhale, extend. Simply release the right knee down. Again, pull the hips back towards the heels. Come off those hands and shoulders. We're going to lift the hips up now and step the right foot forward. So we're coming into a low lunge. Use blocks under the hands here, absolutely fine. And then let's straighten out that left leg. And from here, come up to the tips of the fingers and feel like you're going to drag those blocks backwards in space to pull the chest forward. And does that give you a little bit more hip and glute activation? Take a breath in here and a breath out. And this time we're going to reach both arms towards the back of the mat, letting the shoulder blades kind of float towards the rib cage on the back. Take a breath in here and take a breath out. Simply release the hands to the block. Send everything forward in space. You can drop the back knee down, totally fine. Take a beat here. And then lift the hips up and pull everything back in space. Again, you can rock to the heel, take a beat here. Breathe in, and there can be weight in the hands. And breathe out. We're simply going to bend the right knee and then switch sides. So whether you're stepping the right foot back first or the left foot forward first, right, you're coming to a lunge pose on your second side. So again, up on the tips of the fingers, that sense that you're trying to drag the blocks backwards to send the chest forward. All right, so the outer hips are holding on to that pelvis here, and that pelvis is lined up with your rib cage as you reach your arms to the back of the mat. Nothing too fancy right now, right? Balancing, that's enough, right? That's fancy enough right now. Waking up that left hip, that left glute, and then release the hands to the blocks. Send everything forward in space. Right? Get a good range of motion there on that left ankle. Pull the hips back, maybe rock to that left heel. Breathe in and breathe out. We're going to bend that left knee. Let's set our blocks off to the side unless you need them for your hands and step back, downward facing dog. First down dog. You can tread through the feet, you can bend the knees, you can shift your pelvis a little bit from side to side. And just kind of see what's going on in your body right now. Inhale, come forward to your plank position. Exhale, let's lower down to the ground. You can go from your toes or your knees. Inhale, cobra pose. Reposition hands if your neck and shoulders feel jammed up. Release from cobra pose. Tuck the toes. Push up and back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in here and a breath out. We're going to walk our hands back towards the feet to the back of the mat. And once you're hanging over your legs, you can shake your head out no, you can shake your head out yes. You can swing the body a bit from side to side. I'm going to invite you to bend the knees enough so you got weight in the heels. And then tap your inner heels with your fingers. Just tap, 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 tap. And think about those inner heels sliding closer together. And slowly make your way up to stand. So once you start to come up, you can no longer tap those inner heels. I'm just giving feedback there. Once standing, inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Drop the head and hands. Inhale, walk forward to a plank position. You can hold plank this time, or exhale, lower down through a push-up of your choice. Inhale through a back bend of your choice. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathe in here. And breathe out. Inhale. Exhale 2. Breathe in. Breathe out. 3. And from here, walk the feet forward towards the top of the mat. You can hang over your legs. We'll grab one of those blocks and we'll place it between our ankles, or just above the ankle bones, I should say. So if you want it on the narrow, that's fine. If you need it a bit wider, totally okay. Bend the knees and come into a bit of a chair position. Right, so we want to find that hip flexion. Sometimes it's a bit tricky when we're in a big spinal flexion, so if you need to come up out of it to come into it, absolutely fine. I'm going to bring the hands together in front of the chest. And then you're just going to hold that block and lift the heels, and then put the block back down. Whew. And you're going to hold on to that block, lift the heels, and put the heels back down. And if you don't like where your arms are, you can always put your hands kind of on the side body. See if you can keep the front ribs in line with the front of the pelvis. Squeeze that block, lower the heels down. One more time, lift the heels, and lower down. From there, slowly straighten out the legs. You're going to drop that block. Place the block underneath your right foot. So let's flatten that block if it's not on the flat surface. And then bend both knees. You're coming into a bit of a chair position here. So both knees bent. Pull the hips back in space. Take a breath in here. You're going to bring the right arm on the inside of the right leg. Sweep that left arm down and back behind you, taking a bit of a twist here. Maybe that left arm floats to the ceiling, but maybe not. Maybe it's better for the neck to reach the left arm to the wall behind you. And then come back to center, chair position. You're going to come to stand on that right leg as you pull that left knee forward and up for half march. Think about that right thigh going back in space, and then bend the right knee and put the left foot down. And then exhale, come up. Inhale, lower down. Try to do this without looking at the floor. Exhale, up. And inhale down. Now we're simply going to shift the weight into the left foot and step our right foot back. High lunge pose. High lunge. Reach the arms up. Like I said, it's a short practice, seeing as much movement as we can get into our bodies. You're going to inhale, straighten the front leg as you lower the arms. Exhale, bend the knee and sweep the arms up. Inhale, straighten and lower. Exhale, bend and sweep. Inhale, straighten and lower. And exhale, bend and sweep. Bring the hands together in front of the chest. Lean forward, load the lunge. You're going to let your right hand come to the block and the left arm maybe reach the ceiling or just to the wall behind you as you take a lunge twist. Breathe in here And breathe out. From there, release the hands down, step back, downward facing dog. And see if it feels a little awkward doing all that work on one side and not the other. You can come forward to a plank pose and hold plank, or lower down through a push-up of your choice. Inhale through a back bend of your choice. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathe in here and breathe out. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, bend the knees and jump, step, or walk to the top of the mat. At the top of the mat, lengthen the spine. Exhale, fold into the legs. You're going to take that block and place it now underneath the left foot. Bend the knees and come into that chair position. So we're keeping that nice deep hip flexion here. You're going to twist to the right. So the left arm will come to the inside of the left leg, and that right arm will reach back behind you, helping you twist from the spine. Maybe it goes up towards the ceiling, but maybe it just points backwards in space. And then come back to center, pushing off both feet. You're going to come to stand on the left foot as you pull the right knee up, half march. Push that left thigh back. Sometimes this is challenging, yes? Inhale, bend that left knee, come down. Exhale, come up. Think about front ribs staying down. I'm exaggerating that here. Bend the knees, come down. One more time, up. And one more time, down. Shift the weight into the right leg, step the left foot back, high lunge pose. Again, you can reach those arms up here. Breathing in, breathing out. Inhale, straighten the front leg and lower the arms. Exhale, bend the knee and sweep those arms up. Inhale, straighten and lower. Exhale, bend and sweep. Inhale, straighten and lower. And exhale, bend and sweep. Hands together in front of the chest, lean forward, load the lunge, load the lunge. You're going to twist to the right. That left hand can come to the block. If you don't like the height of the block, change it. As you twist to the right, maybe the right arm reaches back in space. Maybe it reaches up towards the ceiling. Right? That's really determined by how your neck and shoulders are feeling right now. Take another breath in here and another breath out. Look down, hands to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. You can hold your dog pose or come forward to plank. You can hold your plank pose or lower down through a push-up. Inhale through a back bend. Exhale back, downward facing dog. Breathe in here and breathe out. We're going to meet in down dog. Inhale the right leg straight back behind you into the air. All right, see if you can keep that shoulder girdle balanced here as you step the right foot forward, spin the back heel to the floor. Just pull yourself up to warrior two. All right, exaggerate the spread of the palms here. Inhale, tip backwards, peaceful warrior. And then exhale, extended side angle. Right arm to the right leg, left arm can sweep alongside that left ear. Imagine squeezing that block between the ankles and see if you can't get a little bit more length in that lower back. Breathe in here and breathe out. On your next inhale, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, hands to the hips, rotate the right leg in, fold forward over your legs here, drop the head and hands. You can just shake your head out no, or you can do a little bend of the left knee or a bend of the right knee. Move the body a bit from side to side. You can make this super side bendy or very little movement at all. Take one more breath in and one more breath out. We're gonna bend the right knee, walk the hands to the top of the mat, and step back, downward facing dog. Back and down dog, you're going to reach the left leg straight back behind you into the air. Keep that left side of the pelvis lifted. Step the left foot forward, spin the right heel down. Come into warrior two. It's never the perfect landing, so be willing to make transitions here. Again, exaggerate the spread of the palms. Inhale, peaceful warrior, tipping backwards. Exhale, extended side angle, left arm to the left leg, right arm alongside the right ear. And we are looking for that pubic bone to come in line with that right hip point. Breathe in here and breathe out. On your next inhale, come all the way up, straighten that left leg. Hands on the hips again, rotate the left leg in, and then you once again fold forward over the legs. Once again, you can drop the head, you can bend your left knee, your right knee, go side to side. Right? Maybe you take the hips a little bit lower, maybe the toe mound comes off the floor. And just play around with some movement here. And we'll bend that left knee, walk the hands over to the top of the mat, spin the back heel up, and step back, downward facing dog. Breathe in here, and breathe out. From here, release the knees to the ground. Pull the hips back towards the heels, come into child's pose. If you want to put a block under your head on this one, go for it, especially if it's still really warm when you're doing this practice. Take a breath in. And take a breath out. All right, let's walk the hands back towards the knees. All Right, and just for a moment, if you need that blanket, let's place it down underneath the knees. We're going to use the block between the heels and grab that long resistance band that I asked you to have at the beginning. So the knees are coming onto the blanket, and then the block will come between the heels, and that's just going to give us a little bit of feedback right now. So block between the heels, it's fine if it's not on the floor. You're squeezing that block. Right, so the squeeze of the block is like, hey, okay, glutes are active here. They help keep the back of the pelvis dropping down so I don't feel like I'm going to fall flat on my face. You're going to take that resistance band, you're going to hold it at a low V out in front of you. Inhale, reach the band up, and then exhale, bring the band behind your head. Now, depending on the range of motion will determine that you have in your shoulders will determine how far back that band goes, but also notice if you're trying to get there by shifting the rib cage forward or releasing the glutes, right? Using that block will help with the trunk muscles. Right, from here, take a little side bend over to the right, and I'm going to turn a little. Take a side bend over to the right. You want to make sure that that left arm is staying in the same plane as the right arm here. And then come up and take a little side bend over to the left. You can shift your hips a little, right? And then inhale, come up, and then exhale, bring that band in front of you. Okay, now bring the hands a little bit closer together. You're going to lift that band forward and up so your V is a little bit shorter. Now this time it's going to be a little different. I'm going to ask you to exhale, pull the band apart as you bend the elbows and bring the band just behind the nape of the neck, right across those upper traps. And then inhale, reach back up. And do that again. You're going to exhale, you're going to pull that band apart as the elbows bend. And then inhale, reach back up. And notice as you're trying, I've got a ponytail, it gets a little bit in the way, but notice as you're trying to bring that band down across the upper traps, right, if your rib cage is trying to also move forward. And see if you can really let the bottom tips of the shoulder blades pin in as you pull that band apart, creating space across the upper back. Right, one more of these, exhale, and then inhale, come up. Bring that band forward and down, shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. All right, set that band off to the side, set the block off to the side, and we'll step the right foot forward. So you can try doing this without putting your hands down, step the right foot forward, send the right knee over the toes, and then shift the hips back in space. All right, so you're just gonna shift forward and back here, really trying to use that right foot as the initiator. Right, so if I'm pushing the foot into the mat to push the hips back, I'm trying to pull the foot backwards to send the pelvis forward. All right, take one more forward and back. And then you're going to find like that place in between where you can come forward a little bit, right, but not be in your full range of motion. Right arm on the inside of the right leg, reach the left arm up, side bend to the right, and pull that left hip back a little bit. So you're kind of peeking underneath the left arm. You can always bend the left elbow and hold your head here. Breathe in. And breathe out. And from here, we're going to unwind, come back to center, and simply back the pelvis up so we can switch sides. It can be a little bit of a balancing act to try and pick the right foot up, put the right knee down, pick that left leg out. Think about that glute squeezing to step the left foot forward. And then hands can go on the front thigh here as you shift forward and back. And again, I'm trying to drag that foot back a little bit and push forward. You don't have to go crazy with the activation here. It's just the initiation of the movement. And you fall over a little bit. Some days you fall over a lot, right? And it's fine. It's totally fine. Right? Be willing to fall. You're going to find that kind of happy medium place where you're a little bit forward but not in your full range of motion. Left arm on the inside of the left leg, right arm up. Take a side bend to the left and then pull the right hip back. Again, kind of peeking under the right arm. You can just hold on to your skull here with your right hand. Breathing in and breathing out. And then unwinding your way out of that, backing the pelvis up over the right knee. Right glute firing here, and see if you can't pick that left foot up and bring that left knee down. Right, you can grab your blocks here if you like a little bit of toe rocking action. Tuck the toes behind you, sit back on the heels, and you can rock back and forth a little bit here. And then just allowing there to be some stretch of the calves, some stretch for the ankles, some movement for the feet. And then we will come to our seats. Right, so whether you need to sit on a blanket or a block, we'll come to a right-seated spinal twist. So we'll let the left knee bend today, cross the right leg over. And if you're like, nope, that's not happening, totally fine. You could have your left leg straight. You can also sit on a block like I do. You're going to wrap as long as you are good to take a close twist. You're going to wrap the left arm around the right leg, place the right hand behind you, right? Sitting up nice and tall. You can look over your right shoulder or look over your left shoulder. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale. And exhale 2. Breathe in and breathe out 3. We'll release out of this twist. Take that counter twist if that feels all right for you, and then set up for a left seated spinal twist. So again, nothing fancy. Stretch the legs out. You'll bend the right knee underneath you. You'll cross the left leg on top, and you're totally fine to sit on a blanket. You'll wrap to the front leg as long as that is okay for your back. Right? You're not pregnant, and it's okay on the neck and shoulders. All right, so taking a breath in here, you could place the left hand behind you. I've been a big fan these days of using my left hand to help guide the right arm. Breathe out. Inhale. And you might notice that when you're doing things like this, your breathing, feels like it's more restricted. That can be a really good thing in terms of getting those intercostal muscles, these little muscles that lie between the ribs, to open more. Take another breath in. They help really to facilitate breathing. And take a breath out. You're going to release out of that. You can take your little bit of a counter twist. And then coming off any props or padding you might be on, setting everything off to the side, stretching the legs out in front of you. If you need to, shake out the knees. I always get a little crack myself. Right, place the hands behind you, fingertips pointing out to the sides. Let your fingers be off the mat. Keep the palm on the mat. It's a sticky mat. And then bend the knees, feet flat on the floor. And right from here, you got to monitor your shoulders, right? So you might just lift the chest up and be like, this is great. I'm just going to shake my head side to side and stay. Or you might be okay to press the feet down, lift the hips up. Now, if you are going to lift the hips, get them as high as you can, and then inhale, come back down. And you can do a few rounds like that. So exhale, lifting. Inhale, lowering. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Think about squeezing those heels together. Last lift. And lower. From here, you can just drop your knees from side to side. And you can take a seated forward bend here. You can bring the bottoms of the feet together, knees out to the side. Grab a blanket to sit on maybe. If you need a little lift, maybe 2 blankets. And then simply fold forward. If you're like, whew, I am hot, I am tired, right, because I am filming this on a day that's pretty warm, you could put your head on the blocks and just relax, rocking the head from side to side, breathing in and breathing out. All right, now in this forward bend, decide what might you need to help facilitate closing down your practice today. Maybe you need some back bends, some twists, and all that sort of stuff. And you're just going to go on your own path. Right? Maybe you need something a little bit more restorative, like supported bridge or supported fish. Maybe you need to take yourself to the wall, do legs up the wall. You can stretch your legs out in front of you. And if you're like, I don't know what I need, right, that's fine. I'm going to show you supported fish. You're going to take a block. You're going to place the block. I like it on the flat side these days, but you might be able to take it to the higher height. And I know for certain structures, taking the block to the middle height and narrow is actually much more comfortable. So again, it's an experiment. You are experimenting in your practice. You're going to come onto the block with the shoulder blades. You're going to set the second block up for your head. Now that block can be at the same height or higher. It could be lower. Except that what I'm going to say is that since we're winding down our practice, I think having the head higher than the heart is a nice way to help bring down the calming aspect to the practice. Right? It takes you out of spinal extension. Right, so this gives a nice lift through the chest. If you need to have the knees bent for this, because that just feels better, all right, you could do crisscross applesauce here. So your feet are supporting the shins and you can drop the arms by the sides. Right, as long as the elbows and the forearms are making a connection to the floor or to some props underneath them, Right, you're in a good spot to just stay as you breathe in. And breathe out 1. Inhale. Exhale 2. Breathe in. Breathe out 3. Inhale. Exhale 4. Inhale. Exhale 5. You might be able to just pause the video, stay where you are, or you might need to wiggle the fingers, stretch out the jaw. Maybe you need to wiggle the toes or bend the knees. You want to reach your arms out to the sides or alongside the ears for a little yawn or stretch. And you can either roll to one side or curl your way up. And so if you're curling your way up, remember, you grab onto the skull with your hand or hands, lift the head up. So you're really thinking about the front ribs coming down. Right? As the front ribs come down, you can then reach your arms in the direction of the knees. Remember, that kind of broadens the back ribs for us and gives us a little bit more access to those deep transverse abdominis corset muscles. Right? Coming to sit. Right? If you need to, grab that blanket to sit on, block anything. Right? That allows you to stack the rib cage over the pelvis so you can sit with only the amount of effort you need to sit up so that you have freedom of movement as you breathe. Meeting yourself where you're at without commenting on it. Take that steady breath in and that steady breath out. Placing the hands where you'd like them as you drop the chin to the chest, bowing the mind to the heart. Folding forward, honoring your practice, your willingness to meet yourself where you're at. Thank you so much for being here, practicing and watching. I hope you enjoyed.